Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's topic is going to be a little heavy. It's going to discuss something that could be disturbing to people out there. So if you are a pregnant person or you're expecting or you're trying to expect, basically anything that might scare you into pregnancy, you might not want to watch this video. We will be discussing a rather sensitive topic about pregnancy loss. So if that's not going to serve you positively, then please, just by all means, check out of this video. However, if you're here because you wanted to get into a discussion when it comes to how the internet is responding to the loss of Matt and Abby's baby, then you are at the right place. Okay, if you hear a screaming banshee in the background, hold on. That may or may not be a cat or a kid. Either way, I'm gonna try to do this scream free, but if you hear what sounds like running around goblins, my house is not possessed. We're okay. Ew. I don't even want to make jokes in this video because this is a really, really sad topic. And if you've ever experienced loss, pregnancy loss, stillbirth, infant loss, miscarriage, chemical pregnancy, any of the above, then my heart absolutely goes out to you. This is such a hard topic to talk about, and it's every woman's nightmare who is either expecting or wanting to be expecting. This is like the worst thing that they could think of happening. So let's get into this topic today. So Matt and Abby recently, if you've been following them on YouTube, have been documenting their third pregnancy journey. Now, this one was expected or planned, a planned pregnancy versus their other two children that were pleasant surprises. So this was the first time that Matt and Abby had really started documenting kind of along the steps of, everything that goes along with it. They were both really, really excited to welcome this new baby into their life. And unfortunately, the tragic reality of the ending of that life did happen. Now, they did release that it was a genetic malformation that caused the miscarriage. It wasn't anything that was due to like a trauma or a physical, interaction that caused it. So sometimes that gives people solace. Other times it really doesn't, because when something is out of your control, I know for us control freaks, we don't like that. I don't like it when things just don't follow rules and doesn't go along with the way that things are supposed to go. This can cause a lot of anxiety for people, expecting or that follow Abby, that we're following her along on her journey and that wanted to get pregnant. The point is, they went on their podcast, the Unplanned Podcast, and they discussed for the first time what had happened. This miscarriage took place about a week ago, and Matt and Abby did come out and say something on social media and TikTok along the lines of we are sad to inform everyone that we have lost our baby. And there was a lot of support from fans, and there was a lot of love surrounding them and their family during this really difficult time. However, when the podcast got released, I watched it within an hour or so of being uploaded. The comments section was rather questionable, at least. We had people in the comments section, and I scoured this hours later. Obviously, I started my day when the podcast got released. I was listening to it while I was, dealing with children, washing dishes, all the things, but I was still listening to it and just kind of scouring through the comments periodically, just ever so slightly. And I kind of glanced at a comment or two that was just uncalled for. Now, when I reviewed the footage, hours and hours later, once I got a chance at nap time to review some of the comments, I scoured the whole comment section and it didn't seem to be there anymore. So either it was edited or deleted by the person that put it up there. There was people that found issue with Matt's discussing early pregnancy loss versus late-term pregnancy loss. Some people in the comments section were saying something like, I just don't like how Matt had to say that losing a baby at 8 weeks is very different than losing a baby at 17 weeks or further on. along. And whether there is or isn't a difference in the grieving process, there's absolutely a difference in the physical element, the physical process of those two types of miscarriages. So I believe that that's what he was referencing to. That's what he was referring to, I mean. But people did not like that he was rather insensitive to those people that might have lost a baby earlier on in the pregnancy. Hold on, I hear my name being called. Sorry about that minor disruption. Everything's cool. So if you see some shifts in the video, then that's why. One of the comments was, referring to that Matt was being insensitive to people losing a baby earlier on in pregnancy versus later in pregnancy. Now, while the grieving process might be similar or the same, a loss is a loss, the physical process is rather different. For example, when you lose a baby early term, most of the times it can be taken care of with medication and at your own home, or sometimes the miscarriage just kind of dissolves on its own. There's no need for medical intervention. And when it is late term, like at 17 weeks, like Abby was, there is a little bit more involvement. For example, in the podcast, they did mention that the doctors gave them two choices. One was going to a facility that terminates pregnancies. I'm trying to be very careful with the choice of words that I use on this video because I don't want the YouTube algorithm to get mad at me. So we'll just leave it at that. Abby felt the need to go with the option B, which was to go to a hospital and to induce labor and to deliver her baby no longer living, which sounds like a horror movie. However, Abby said that this would be her last act as her mother is to deliver her baby into the world.
The past 2 times we've gone to the hospital recently has been to meet our new baby nieces, the boys' cousins. And so then Griffin's like, "You're going to meet the baby?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm going to meet the baby." And then I said, "But we're not going to get to take this baby home." And he said, "But I want to take this baby home." I said, "I do too, buddy. I do too." And this whole time, that's still one of the toughest things to grieve.
And when she did this, people in the comments section, everyone was talking about her strength and admiring her, bravery for retelling the story. And then there was those nasty comments, which I can no longer locate because I think they were either removed by either the person that commented it, which we can hope that somebody had like the mental capacity of being like, this is kind of an asshole thing to say, so I'm not going to say it, or it was removed by Matt and Abby themselves, or it could have been edited or just taken off by YouTube altogether. Not really sure. But it was a comment, just saying like, "Oh, funny how you monetize the topic of miscarriage though," which is disgusting because a lot of people come to YouTube to find a community. Not often do you find in your own circle people that have gone through similar things as you. So then sometimes you go on the internet to feel less alone in the world and to find other people that have gone through something similar and to hear, the similar grieving process and to feel a sense of normalcy. I went back to the very last podcast that they had posted previous to the podcast discussing the miscarriage, and then there was this comment, and I'll put it up on the screen, but it says, "Well, they got their girl," with a little heart emoji and then the angel wings, and then someone responded to that saying, "Not anymore, period." Maybe you didn't mean that in a horrible way, but you're kind of just reminding them like, yeah, no, duh, like, of course I don't have my child anymore. Thank you for the reminder. Just very insensitive things like that. I don't really care, who these people are and all the critique that there is out there about them. People just tend to have an issue with a lot of things in general all the time. So this is one of the issues that they have with that. Another comment said, "I think Matt is showing so much strength for Abby. He too is grieving, yet the focus is on Abby, praying for them both." I like this one, especially how Abby discusses later on in the podcast how he was her pillar, he was her rock, like she leaned on him so much. And I'll put a little clip of it right here.
A major thing that this loss has taught me is that together we are so strong. Because through this loss, I've had to lean on you in ways that I've never had to lean on you in our relationship ever before. And you have been such a rock for me.
It's a very unique shared grieving experience. And it does at times unite you and your partner. But oftentimes, I'm going to quote my boy John Deloney, people grieve at different rates. When someone is still in the grieving process, the other one might already be ready to move on and might have gone through the different stages of grief and has just, put that behind them, not to where they don't feel the grief anymore, but where they're willing to experience a different feeling than just constantly being stuck in the shadow of grief. This can cause a lot of tension and turmoil in a relationship. It's just going to be really tricky to navigate. I wish them all the best. There were some other comments that I wanted to discuss here. Haha, now somebody mentioning John Deloney in the comment section as well. We got some John Deloney fans watching Matt and Abby, evidently. So John Deloney says that grief mandates or demands a witness. You are so strong for sharing your loss of heartbreak. You are so loved by the community you have built around you. We see your pain and sadness. We see you. I have no doubt that many people are saying prayers for you and your family, and I will join in on that. I hope that you do find joy and peace in this difficult time and season. Blessings. Grief is oftentimes needing somebody to absorb that you're going through the grief. Not necessarily trying to fix your grief, not trying to find solutions, not trying to make you think of something else, but just to sit with your grief. And I think Abby mentioned it really well in this podcast, and I haven't heard it explained this well before. So I think this is going to help a lot of people out there. But a lot of the times her social battery can just feel like just drained, depleted, crusty, musty, in the corner, because she has to fake small talk. A lot of times when people are around someone that is grieving, they want to fix that uncomfortable feeling of silence or pain by filling in the void with a lot of talking about this, talking about that. And it's all just a lot of talk, when the person that's grieving, all they want to do is be like, I don't really care about any of this right now. I'm on a whole other planet. If anything, it helps them to discuss their grief. She has talked about how it feels revitalizing to discuss her grief, how revitalizing it feels to discuss losing her baby and what she is thinking and what she is feeling has been tricky for her to overcome, she says, because a lot of the time it's like, I feel sad. What do you mean? Of course, it doesn't feel great. But what are you thinking has really helped, and that is something that Matt constantly asks her. So what are you thinking? And then she'll get these really dark images or these dark ideas out of her mind. There was another comment out there saying that Matt doesn't look like he's suffering at all. He just looks so happy, so pleasant. She is breaking down pretty much throughout the entire podcast. It wouldn't really be helpful for him to be breaking down as well. I feel like he is being forced to be the rock. He's forcing himself, not that anyone's forcing him, but he's pushing himself to be the rock, to be the pillar, because that's what she needs right now, and she just needs the space to grieve. So if anything, I think it's quite the opposite, that he's being kind of selfless in the sense that he's just allowing her a space to discuss, to grieve, to mourn, and that he is just there to kind of be the listening bystander and to, be strong for her. Now, I'm curious. I'm coming from a very unbiased perspective on this whole thing. Obviously, I understand that people that are grieving a miscarriage, whether it's early pregnancy or late pregnancy, that grief is grief, loss is loss. You can't really compare apples and oranges, and there are a lot of very similarities of the things that you're going to be grieving, certain stages of pregnancy, certain birthdays, certain due dates. There's going to be all these things that are constantly coming up that are going to be making you go right back into that grief. So in that sense, it's a similarity. The differences I see that are physical, some people can be bothered by that. It's just more like a scientific matter of fact, what is, the difference between the two. However, I don't think you could say that one is more painful than the other. Can you? I don't know. Am I wrong? Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you think that that is something that was problematic to say of them, that there are differences, that, it was much more intrusive having to lose a baby at 17 weeks versus 8. But, from my standpoint, it's just, I didn't go through either, so I can't really speak on behalf of which one is more painful than the other, emotionally, physically, whatever. But let me know. I would be happy to hear what you guys think, because this is kind of something that not a lot of people get to talk to. And if you happen to be in a circle with other people that have gone through something similar, I'm also curious, and you could put it down below in the comments as to what has been their experience with this whole thing and what your perspective was on this topic. I realize I haven't made a video in a really long time. When this podcast came out, my heart was absolutely broken, and especially seeing those comments, like, I will go and scour through again just to fine tooth comb them to see if I could find them so I could put the receipts right here. But if I can't, you just have to take my word for it, I guess, or discuss amongst yourselves if you were also one of the early birds that saw the video, that saw these comments, because a lot of people were not taking well to it. And I think I've even seen a couple of TikToks discussing Matt's demeanor through this whole thing, and it was just very off-putting. It's okay, guys, this is not the time to be judging these people, whether you like them or not, whether you agree with what they've done in the past or not. They're going through something very traumatic right now. We should give them the space that they need, and we should not be scrutinizing their every single word, because I think they meant well. I think they meant well by putting this podcast out there. I think a lot of people in the comment section, I saw way more comments of people saying, thank you so much for putting this out there. You're so strong. This makes me feel so seen. All the people that have gone through something, people putting in the comments, I lost a baby at 16 weeks, 19 weeks, 20 weeks, whatever. And just relating with Abby in that hole that she's in right now, and making her feel normal as well as them themselves feeling validated. So I think there's beauty in that. I think I love that about this community on YouTube, that we could share experiences like that and really reach the masses out there and find somebody going through something similar too. But hopefully I get to see you guys in the next video on a much lighter topic. So if you see something going on out there in the YouTube community, check back on my channel, because chances are we're going to have a little discussion. And thank you guys again for joining me on today's video. I wish you guys a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you